Hi there and welcome to another Midweek Memo. This last Sunday we started with the first of our sessions looking at the Pilgrims Progress after church. It was a brilliant time opening this ancient classic, the bestseller after the Bible for the first 350 years after its publication. And so we thought over these next few weeks we'd share a couple of excerpts from Pilgrims Progress on the Midweek Memo, just to get a sense of this wonderful work. And today we dive straight in at the beginning. And the first thing that happens at the beginning of Pilgrim's Progress is we're introduced to the main character, Christian, and a deep sense of personal urgency.
I dreamed, and behold, I saw a man clothed with rags standing in a certain place with his face from his own house, a book in his hand, and a great burden upon his back. I looked and saw him open the book and read therein. And as he read, he wept and trembled. And not being able longer to contain, he brake out with a lamentable cry, saying, "What shall I do?"
That final question reminds me of the early chapters of Acts when Peter explains to the people what has happened to Jesus, and it says they were cut to the heart and they wanted to say, "What then must I do to be saved?" Well, Pilgrim's deep sense of urgency is already a great challenge to us today. We tend to be rather indifferent to questions of spiritual status before God. And actually his anguish, I think in many ways in our mental health conscious culture, makes us think this is just something to be solved quickly. But Bunyan obviously believed that the anguish that Christian goes through is a necessary part of the journey towards discovering salvation. Just listen to the next bit as he begins to contemplate what needs to happen and indeed contemplate the future for him and his family without the Lord.
"O my dear wife," said he, "and you the children of my bowels, I, your dear friend, am in myself undone by reason of a burden that lieth hard upon me. Moreover, I am for certain informed that this our city will be burned with fire from heaven, in which fearful overthrow, both myself, with thee, my wife, and you, my sweet babes, shall miserably come to ruin, except, the which yet I see not, some way of escape can be found, whereby we may be delivered."
This is the drama that John Bunyan wants to set up. Here is Pilgrim with a great need, but he hasn't yet found the solution. And the rest of the book will be him finding it and then living in it. But Pilgrim's Progress isn't just a distant, kind of arcane presentation of the message of Christianity, and one that may feel a very long way away from our today. It's so relevant and speaks into our world. The next thing that happens immediately is something all of us can identify with. The people around him decide it's time for him to calm down.
At this, his relations were sore amazed, not for that they believed that what he said to them was true, but because they thought that some frenzied distemper had got into his head. Therefore, it drawing towards night, and they hoping that sleep might settle his brains, with all haste they got him to bed.
I love the way that the relatives think that if they get him to sleep, perhaps he'll calm down and tomorrow will be a new day and he'll have got over his religious zeal. Perhaps all of us can identify with that sense that the people around us don't really care so much. They don't get the point. Indeed, they almost have this kind of there, you'll get over it. But as Christian goes on, we realize that he's not alone, and this isn't the only instance where there'll be people around him who scoff or mock or indeed deride what he has come to understand. And yet he perseveres, and he perseveres through great adversity. I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit more of his journey with you in the coming weeks. A few notices to share with you. First of all, our Ash Wednesday Holy Communion service happens this evening at 8 p.m. There will be imposition of ashes, a great way to start Lent. Second, if you'd like to join us in the second of our sessions looking at John Bunyan's Pilgrim Progress, we'd love to have you. That'll be after our morning service at 11:45 this Sunday. Third, as we look a little bit further ahead, we have got our electoral roll to review. If you consider yourself a member of our church, if this is your home church, then the way that we do it in our church is that we register our membership through going on the electoral roll. And this year we're having to redo it completely from zero. So whatever you've signed or whatever you've signed up for in the past, that's behind us. We need you to come and indicate that this church is yours. More details to follow on that shortly. And it's a good moment for me to say as well that if you're not registered on our website and aren't regularly receiving our emails, or indeed if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, but you'd love to get more content, don't forget to do both of those things. Thanks for joining us.